Hi guys, welcome again to TeamGA 1328's podcast for Unison Warrior Set 6 Saiyan Showdown. Once again, we are here with Elski,
Hey everyone.
Mono,
Yes, intruding again.
Yellow, and QJ.
Hello.
Starting off with Son Goten leader card. Take it away, QJ.
Okay, so basically, right now we have Goten leader. He's your basic leader that just attacks, draw one. It's been a while since we last saw any leader that does this because everything else just does 1,000 things. Okay, so for him to awaken, you either have to have 4 life or a red unison with a specified cost of 3 in play. Then you can awaken, draw 2 cards, and take your life until you have 6 cards left. So let's see the back. The repeat. Yep. So when you awaken, so it still does the same thing, attack, draw one, like all the leaders does, but it has an activate main, once per turn, spirit boost. This card gains 10k power until the end of the battle or the end of the turn, whichever comes first. This is important because if they just say until the end of the battle, and without the end of the turn part, you can just activate main, pass your turn, and you'll be a 25k leader during your opponent's turn. So it's important to leave that sentence in. If you have remove a marker from a red unison card, with a specified cost of 3, using this skill, you can choose one of your opponent's better card, 15k power or less, KO it. It's a sort of a decent removal if you have some kind of power reduction, I would say, but it's okay. Also, the second activating main it has is that if you have 3 or less life, you can play up to 1 Son Goku with an energy cost of 1 from a drop area, then negate this skill for the rest of the game, not for the turn, so you can only do this one time. On first look, honestly, I don't think the leader is that good because all in all, you're just getting a 10k boost and maybe killing a guy for a spirit boost.
It doesn't fit in with any archetype we've seen before. It just tries to do its own thing. And honestly, you're better off either playing things like Yamcha or Bulma to get actual cards into your hand, or if you want to actually kill people, do things with completely different archetypes. Like recently we have Jiren and other stuff.
This card is Broly, and I'll tell you that this is by far like the most interesting Broly card that has ever surfaced. But he has a permanent where you can't include non-Broly battle cards in your deck. So basically, any battle cards that doesn't have the Broly in the name, you are not able to actually include it. So this is actually quite important because you won't be able to play like Yamcha, like some of the Topo, the kind of cards that are like normally in red staples. So for this leader, he has an auto that when he attacks, you can throw 1 extra card from your hand to the drop area. Then when he attacks you, then you draw 2 cards. So it's basically pitching 1 and draw 2. And his Awaken Condition is when your life is at 3 or less, you may draw 2 cards and switch up to 1 of your energy in active mode, and then flip this card over. This is the Awaken side, and it has a very, very interesting skill. When this card attacks, draw 1 card. If there's 7 or more extra cards in your drop area, you can activate the Activate Battle. On a red non-extra field card with original energy 3 or less from your drop area without paying the energy cost. Then if you do, send that card to the wall. So basically, this skill allows you to activate cards that have Activate Battle, the auto timing, and as well as allowing you to draw cards as well. It also has another activate battle, which is that when you choose 1 extra card in your hand, you can discard it, and then this card gains 5,000 power for the battle. Why is this card good? Is that the deck is made out of extra cards, and allowing that the extra cards having combo, in a sense, like the combo power to protect yourself from attacks as well. It is good in a sense because there are cards that can actually remove combo powers and stuff, and this card actually prevents the activate battle part actually prevents it. So let me talk about the more interesting one, which is the first auto. Allowing that cards like Emperor Death Beam.
Okay, wait, let me cut you off right there. Hey, newsflash! You can't actually activate Emperor Death Beam anymore because the official ruling right now, activate battle and activate main/battle are 2 completely different things.
So overall, this overview of the leader is that it's actually a very interesting leader. What are your opinions on this card?
Honestly, when this leader first came out, I immediately thought the first extra card I thought was the Frieza's Death Ball. Plus 15k to your leader, reduce 10k to one of your opponent's better or leader card. Is basically you're hitting your opponent for 40k.
Yep,
you're gonna get hit by a truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, this leader was probably something that Red needed now, since basically everything we understood about Red got banned in the last ban list. So now that this is a new thing we can do with Red, this will probably change what we usually think about Red now, which is literally just a side color to store.
This leader's weakness is honestly just how slow it can awaken, because if you go back to the front, it actually awakens at 3 life. So
Yeah.
you might want to consider that you want to awaken as fast as possible so that you can start using or abusing the awaken leader's auto. So maybe you guys can consider SS Broly Legend Unleashed. So in
Yeah,
case for
correct.
those who don't know what that card does, it says if your opponent has 3 or more energy and you have dormant legend in your, you can choose a dormant legend in your battle area and place it in the drop area, and you play this card. So when you play this card, if your leader is a red Brody, you may awaken even if your life is at 5 or more. Good card to awaken early.
Yes,
and
correct.
and it can also help you fill your drop for extra cards, so you can start using the auto. So this is SS Sun Gohan Kamehameha Miracle. This is the unison that ties well with Goten, because this is actually a 3 cost specified unison, but it actually only costs 2 if you look at the activate main. It costs 2 red. If your leader is a red Sun Goten card and your opponent has 2 or more energy, you can play this card from your hand and with 2 markers on it. So basically, if you are going second, your opponent charges to 2 energy and it's your second turn, you can tap 2 energies, play this card, get 2 markers on it, and you can awaken already. Because if you remember, Goten's awaken ability is if you have a unison that has specified cost of 3 on it. So yeah, this is the unison that you want to play if you want to awaken as soon as possible. And the unison skill is that +1 you can draw a card. The -2 is that you can choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle card and they get -15k power for a turn. Honestly speaking, this is a very subpar unison, even if it ties well with the archetype, because there are better unisons out there like Piccolo Jr., of course, best unison, because it does the same thing. It costs 2, you +1 you can draw a card. You can, if you're ambitious enough, you can even use it to rejuvenate. And the auto is one of the best auto on a card ever, that every time your opponent counters, you kill a 15k battle card. So it's better than this basically. Yeah, so this unison is also average, below average, somewhere around there. Let's move on to the next card.
Dark Broly Resonant Obliteration. First of all, if there are 3 or more red extra cards in the drop area, this card gains double strike. This condition is actually very easy to fulfill, as we will be looking into other cards as well. So it's a 2 cost red unison as well, 15k. So double strike 15k is like pretty good by itself already. It helps in the archetype and in the aggro as well. You look up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 1 red extra card with activate battle skill, 3 costs or less, and add them to your hand, then shuffle your deck. It's a very generalized searcher in a sense for the Broly archetype itself. So the -2 is that when your opponent attacks with a battle card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets -3000 power for each extra card in your drop area. That we are seeing like a defensive play as an auto, which is basically like a margin boo. It can be a very, very like disrupting play kind of card that when upon attack you can do something about it. So it's a -2. So I think it's pretty fair.
1 drop 4k blocker Reddits, which is rest mode. When your opponent uses a skill to play a battle card with energy cost greater than their current energy, you may choose that battle card, have it gain -15k power for the turn. Now, this is a very difficult to judge card. Against most of the blue decks you see nowadays, this does basically nothing, because most of the time they are hardcasting their cards. When you hardcast a card, it is not played by skill, so Reddits will not trigger. The target for this Reddits most of the time, from what I can just think straight to mind, would be most of the thwarting, the Union Fusions, the Overwhelms, your active mains. These can -15k to them. But for the really big win cons, the 4 energy, the 8 energy, the 10 energy to be more specific, 15k isn't much. But of course, for your 25k double strike, 15k can matter. Of course, it needs to be said that this -15k does not target cards with barrier. So probably just mostly good as a 4k blocker.
I mean, honestly, not really even so, right? Because if you're paying 1 energy just for a blocker, it's a bit wasteful of energy, I'll say. What's more, if you actually activate his ability, you have to switch him to rest mode. which
So
makes
it
it
kind of
vulnerable.
defeats it kind of defeats the blocker purpose as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like an iffy
Yeah.
card.
But not only so, this card doesn't even have barrier himself. It's also
Yeah.
easily removed. Like one way or another, it's gonna disappear.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it
There's
kind
not
of
much
targets
to
stuff
say.
that like get reduced cost, I guess, even if you hardcast them, but not really that good.
Yeah,
Just an
correct.
indestructible killer, I would say.
I guess so.
I guess so, but then the thing
either
is that
way,
it's only 15k and
No, because the thing is, you see, you have to minus power on something that has energy cost greater than the current energy. So let's say if you play a 5-drop Zamasu that you need
the
Potara
thing is,
out,
it
it's
must be
20.
played by skill as well. So there isn't
Yeah.
really, and even you say indestructible, there isn't really a card that you play with a skill that's 15k or less.
Yeah, so unless you have your opponent has like 2 of it, then I guess then you're probably not gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, definitely when this guy's there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
correct.
yeah.
But then the
it's
thing is
just
that the focus of like trying to remove this guy is also very easy because it's a one drop and
exactly.
it doesn't even have barrier. So I don't see like the plus value of the cards considering like how like most one drops don't even stay in the field up post like turn 2 or 3. So
The most value I can see this card is your opponent being ambitious and like turn 3 or turn 2 aggressively comboing a Bojack and playing it.
Yeah, correct.
That's it, really.
I guess. Hey,
So
almost best card ever.
Starting
Okay,
to wonder
so-
your best card ever stuff. right
Okay,
there.
jokes aside, basically what Bubbles does is that on play, he just draws you a card. When he gets killed by your opponent specifically, you can play up to 1 North Kai from your deck and then you shuffle your deck. And you still have to pay 1 energy. Honestly, I have no idea where they are going with this. So, look at the card. It doesn't even have blocker. So, trying to get your opponent to KO it is like a chore already. So are you gonna just swing with him a 4k to pay your opponent and tell your opponent, hey, hit this for me, thanks? Never gonna happen.
Yeah, to begin with, what North Kai would you be playing in a red deck as well? That's another.
Yeah, honestly.
yes,
But because there's only 3 North Kais right now, one of them is a one cost 5k blocker. One of them is a super combo, you're probably not gonna play, and it's a blue. What's more, all 3 of them are blue. The last one is a North Kai from Dropbox 4. The effect is that when you play the card, you can draw a card, and then it has an activate main that allows you to tap a blue and 1 other energy to place the North Kai in the drop area, and you can play a 3 cost 15k or less Sangoku from your deck. But
Well,
honestly,
if you
though,
follow that long story short, it's not worth it.
exactly.
Right.
Sangoku, Kamehameha Miracle also. So basically, every Kamehameha Miracle is for Goten. So basically, this is the 1-drop Goku that you might want to play out with the Goten Leader's activate main that you can do once per turn. So when you play him, you get to draw a card. But when you play this card from your hand, remember Goten's activate main is you play from the drop, so you don't even get the draw one. So it has an activate main. If your leader is a red Sun Goten, and you choose this card and one of your Unison switch them to rest mode, you can draw a card. And if you have a Unison that is specified cost 3 or more in play, you can, and your leader can get a 15k power and triple strike until the end of the battle or the end of the turn, whichever comes first. Again, it's just to make sure that your leader don't get a 15k power buff for free out of nowhere. But honestly, it's not worth it.
Yeah, you're paying 2 costs for that though.
Exactly. You see, okay, let's say you activate main on your leader, you get Spirit Boost, you get a 10k power, and then you get another 15k power from here in Triple Strike. So you're a 40k Triple Strike leader. After so much build up, all I need to do is negate. That's your whole game plan. Well done. This card, although it's not, how to say, this card is, if it sticks, I guess you can do it another time, but it's a 4k guy, no barrier. You have to switch it to rest mode. You kind of have to sacrifice your Unison's attack because you switch your Unison to rest mode too.
I don't know what kind of a bait negate you're trying to bait out from your opponent though.
Correct. And considering that negates are like all over the place, I really don't see that building up to that one point. Everybody will just keep their negates on their hand, and until like when this cards, when the leader card attack, you just be like, oh, I'll just negate the attack.
Yeah,
and you wouldn't even have, the thing is that you wouldn't even have energy to actually try to counter that card. Right? Judging from how I see it, so
exactly.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only real scenario where I'm seeing this might be useful is that you're fighting green and your opponent is at just nice 3 life, and you don't want to let them use Dominant Potential Unleash. You swing your leader first so that you force them to actually use a negate.
Yeah, but then the thing is, you need to know that you use 2 energy. So red doesn't really have the flexibility of
Yeah,
See,
for
that's
this one,
the point.
It's the important point. Red doesn't have the energy flexibility
Also,
as well.
not only so, since you're playing against green, they probably have a green unison. They might even charismatic freedom this stupid card. So you might not even get that effect. Or just saying.
Yeah, I mean, you could also fight against blue, and then you might want to bait out his desperate measures. And hey, here's a card for you to read.
Yeah,
it's too much. How about I just desperate measures it?
No one's gonna use that on this.
That's another aspect.
This is just like you're just putting yourself out there to like.
You're just adding insult to injury. You want to follow that line of play. Turn one is your turn 2. You play the unison. Then after that, you play this. On turn 3, you active main. You have tapped out for triple strike, and there is no additional damage along the way beyond at most 2 leader swings and 1 unison swing.
Yep, correct. And
I think
there really isn't a lot of attacks.
No, you don't even get the unison swing because you have to switch it to rest mode. Remember?
Yeah, correct. So it's only the leader will get the swing.
I think the only person that will the only person that will appreciate this is that brawly leader player. Like, come triple strike me, yes, I can go down to 3 life easily.
Yeah.
Seems about right.
Yep, correct.
Honestly, I guess if your opponent's at 5 life, you can hit him for triple strike, which 99% of the time gonna get negated. Okay, honestly, this Gohan is a lot better than expected. Okay, if you guys look at the rarity, it's a common. Yeah, deflect, don't attack, blocker. What the heck? As a common card, the amount of text is really a lot. And okay, so basically what it does is that you can EX evolve over a red Gohan Adolenses that has 3 or more energy. Wait, if you have 3 or more energy, you can evolve over a red Gohan that costs 3. And then you can activate main. If you switch up to, you can switch one of your leader or unison cards to rest mode. And then you can give all of your opponents better card, minus 15k power. But since it choose, it doesn't ignore barrier. It's pretty good a card since it has 2 attack. If you are scared that your opponent might kill you, you can swing 1 time. Leave it as a blocker for afterwards. Or if you want to go in, you can just swing 2 times. It's a 20k after all.
The fact that I think the plus point is that the fact that you can choose his leader or unison.
Yeah,
exactly. It doesn't require you to have to switch to both the cards. And choosing all the better cards and gets minus 15k power actually allows you to filtrate some of the better cards or the possible threats that are out of the field as well. So and the fact that it is a 20k, it is like a dual attacker as well. I think it's really, really very decent for a common card.
Yeah, it's a very good common card. Also, just to mention, if you guys remember, Goten leader kills a 15k card. Minus 15k, maybe you can kill a 30k card just by like that, but it's still alright. Alright.
Still alright.
Speed Rush Sun Gohan, what it does is that you can counter an attack by negating an attack, and you can play this card in rest mode. And during your opponent's turn, you can reduce this card energy cost by 1, so it's technically a 2 cost during your opponent's turn. So, and when you play this card, you can either draw 1 or choose up to one of the red units and add a marker to it. Honestly, I think it's a pretty decent card. It's not good because there are better options out there for 2 energy. You can either topo. There's really many things you can do for 2 energy rather than just to play a guy in rest mode and just to draw a card. I mean, some may think that you want to play in Buma, let's say, but you're playing in rest mode. Yeah, it's not a blocker. It's decent, but
yeah, correct.
There's better negates out there, obviously.
Topo any day, man.
Yeah, of course. I mean, unless specifically you are playing the starter King Vegeta and you can only play Saiyans, this might be an okay option, but still.
Yeah. Alright, let's move on to the next card.
Let's go 10. So this card.
There really is so much to say.
Yeah, let's just
move on.
Yeah.
Honestly,
this is a standard cantrip.
This is just your standard cantrip card that you can look top 5 for Saiyan or Unison. This is a vanilla. Nothing much we can actually say.
This is just a Kaba.
So Saiyan Kaba, same thing as this.
Cards, but you got double strike instead of crit.
Actually, you are right.
So just
in case you guys don't know what we're talking about intensifying power trunks. On attack, you can take a life to gain crit. Instead, this one, you get double strike. Yes, let's move on to the next.
Let's get this card.
It's not necessarily. Okay, so what this card does is that it's a one cost combo. At the end of the battle, when you combo this card from your hand, remember from your hand, you can play this card from your drop area in rest mode. Yes, playing a
Yeah.
blocker in rest mode, totally
Yes,
agree.
totally what you want.
I
And
mean,
you need to pay one energy for that.
yeah, I mean honestly though, all these kind of combo out cards is not bad. I mean honestly though, if your opponent actually spends an attack to attack him to clear a 10k, it already does its purpose, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so it's not the worst, it's not the best, it's just meh.
Yeah, alright, let's move on.
Damien, do you want to take the cards?
Sure. Videl. So this might be a homage to old cards from back in set 7, but I'll read the effects first. When this card is played, look at the top 7 from the top of your deck, add up to 1 red Sun Goten or Trunks Youth card with energy cost 2 or less among them to your hand, shuffle your deck. And then the active main, 2 red and 1 of any color, choose up to 1 red Sun Gohan Adolescence without barrier with an energy cost of 4 in your hand and play. So pretty much possibly a lineup to be playing this the Gohan that clears the board that we looked at earlier. This is pretty much most of its value comes from being a searcher. Why I call out to some cards from back in set 7 because there are also Sun Goten and Trunks that have their cost reduced if you have a Videl. If you like, you can look at those you can look at those at your own because they don't have any innate synergy with this Videl beyond that. But yeah, beyond a searcher, Videl doesn't really have much value because the active main 3 energy is a bit expensive compared to the amount of value you get off of just evolving it off the 3-drop you get.
Honestly though, I hope it didn't say without barrier, because SH3 Sun Gohan Master Surpass, Red Sun Gohan versus barrier. Damn.
That's correct. Yeah. This could be like an alliance kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, the dream is now gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is still like another line of play. I wouldn't call it like great line of play or anything like that, but there is still like another line of play where you play out the old 4-drop Gohan from like the older sets. So if you were to play like the older Sun Gohans, then there is this like old alliance card which is the multicolor of the family Kamehameha ones. So I mean that is an option. It still has Sun Gohan inside for the alliance card as well. So it's just more of like playing homage to like the card that the older cards lah. Yeah, which I think is damn interesting. So but then would I play it for 3? Definitely not in the current meta. It's like all these kind of cards will just get destroyed in like 1 second. So yeah.
All the counterplay stops those anyway.
Counterplay
Nope.
Yeah. Especially with like all the GST. Wow.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's a searcher, full stop.
Yes.
Videl, yes. Now, as a cooler player, sorry, never mind.
That's a good start.
Well, Videl, so basically, for those people of you who are familiar with the Yamcha counterplay, this is pretty similar, except that this Videl requires you to have a red unison specified cost 3 or more in play, and you must spirit boost 1. So, you can counterplay the Videl, but in order to get the negative power, you must spirit boost 1. So the auto, you can just read that counterplay, can't activate counterplay skills. This is the same as Yamcha. So it costs 3 or more, activate counter skill without paying its cost. But it's an on-play auto as well. This is important to note because if you got Sealing Technique Yamcha, you will still get your negative 15k. But if Videl gets bounced back to your hand, you do not get the negative 20k on 2 of your opponent's battle cards.
Honestly, I don't. Yeah, I honestly don't like Videl because you need to have a unison specified cost 3 or more in play just to use this for free. I mean, if you look at Yamcha, all you need is 2 markers, which isn't difficult to fulfill, honestly, because nowadays if you're playing red, what unison will you be going for?
Just
Piccolo Junior, am I right?
Just Piccolo Junior, yeah.
Then if you're playing Jiren, you will play the Topo unison also, which you plus
exactly.
1. You're already there.
Yeah, sorry, correct.
Yeah, so like Damien said, although he jokingly said as a cooler player, but honestly, I only see this being viable in cooler too, because you might want to play Saiyan Shenron Unison because it next opponent's battle card power, and it's also a three specified cost Unison. And if you guys don't know, Yamcha when it activates its counterplay, it does not count as a battle card. So your leader can't activate its auto to draw one. But Videl on the other hand, since you already played the card, and then you neg your opponent's power, it actually counts as a battle card, so you can draw one. So it has its pros and cons, honestly.
Yeah, correct. So there is also one thing that this card can actually because the thing is that how Yamcha is built, it still cannot affect cards with deflect as well because it's counterplay. Everything is in the counterplay text. But then for this is in the auto, so it can affect cards with barrier, with deflect. I mean, so not barrier, cannot affect cards with barrier because you have to choose. So it still can affect cards with deflect. I mean, it is a plus minus kind of thing, but I would choose Yamcha any day over this card as well. So because of like the viability of the unisons and only seeing it viable in Saiyan Shenron, it's quite kind of like what it is lah. Yeah.
Yep. Let's
Okay,
move
so
on.
let's move on. This is the SPR version, which is looking like the same. Yeah,
Without the hat.
without the hat. Yeah.
Bit
So that's
underwhelming.
a bit underwhelming. So next one
boy.
is Coco.
Where do we start? Okay, so this card, very basic, just play the card. You get to get a Natada Village Ritual from your deck to your hand, shuffle your deck. We will be talking about that afterwards, but that's all. Natada Village Monster is the vanilla. Let's move on.
So let's come to the best part about this whole card.
Alright, so two of us will leave the call, Elton will take over the podcast.
Alright, so this card is Broly, Brutality Beyond Measure. So deflect double strike. If your opponent has 3 or more energy and you have 5 or more extra cards from your drop area, reduce the energy cost of the card in your hand by 3. So auto, once per turn, choose 1 card from your hand and discard it. When you activate battle on the red extra card with an original cost 3 or more in your hand or drop area, switch this card to active mode. If the card that you've discarded with this skill is a copy of this card, draw 2 cards, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle card or unison card, ignoring barrier, and it gets the minus 35,000 power for the turn. So the beauty of this card is that once auto actually can be used on both turns. So that is what's making this card really, really very good. So you can actually see that the power itself. First of all, we will talk about the power. So the power is 35,000. So it is actually viable for you to play the SS4 Broly in the Broly deck. And that is like because the SS4 Broly also has the name Broly by itself. So that's how you can just straight away go into this card, then just jump out the SCR. So what is actually good is that when choose a card from your hand and discard it, so when you were to activate better skill on a red extra card. So let's say for example that you were to attack with this card already, then your leader has yet to attack. So let's say for example your leader has already awakened. You can use the auto effect to actually proc the skill. So you would choose the card from your hand and discard it to restand the card. So it is kind of worded it is kind of a way that is telling you that this Broly can be a dual attacker. And but then the thing is it doesn't work if it's negated. Then the next thing is that if the card that is discarded is a copy of this card. So if it is same card, you draw 2 cards. Then remove one of your opponent's battle card or unison cards ignoring barrier. So
just minus 35k, not
just
remove.
minus 35k. No, just minus 35k, ignoring barrier.
Mm-hmm.
It can remove so many cards in the process. Like let's say if you were to do this defensively, like if it's like a last ditch, if it's like an all-in attack kind of thing, you were to do this, it will severely impact the flow of the battle. So having this card on the board is actually as well very, very deadly if you are not careful and aware of the card effects as well. So for the 3 cards or more, we will talk about it later because it's all of the extra cards that is actually printed on this set. So I think that whatever this card can do, it is just basically he's there, he's a threat. And if he but then the thing is, if you do not remove him, he is always a threat, because the thing is of the things that you are able to play out with the activate banner and stuff. So yep, so we can actually move on to the extra cards. You guys got anything to add?
Honestly, off the top of my head though, without showing the newer cards, like to activate better, there's only like cease to exist, right?
Yeah, correct.
That costs 3 or more at least, that you can pay for
That's-
cheap.
Yes,
There's
but we
red.
can look into the later cards and we will know that there are actually
You
more
have your
3
red
energy
freedom,
cards.
freedom cards.
Yeah, so this is by far the, in a weirdest way, a card that I really like for the users, just squeezing the hell out of one. So yeah,
Right.
this is a very interesting idea. I love it.
Card is shiny.
Shiny. So SS Broly finishing the job. Alright, so leave it 1, so you're able to use it once per turn. And you're only able to use this card's effect once per turn. So if your leader is a red Broly card, when you activate battle with original cost 3 or more from your hand or drop area, play this card from your hand. So when this card attacks, choose up to one of your opponent battle cards, minus 10,000 power. Choose up to one of your unison cards, and it gets minus 15,000 power. So this card is actually, to be honest, I thought that it's a very interesting that you're able to play out of a body for 16,000. But because activate battle, this wouldn't be your key focus of early gameplay that you'll be doing, because the activate battle actually does cost energy in the end, does cost some form of energy, and it is not what you want to do in the battle situation. So you don't see this as a turn 2 play, because the turn 2 play would likely be the unison. So yeah, I think that this is a decent card, but I can't really see like the play of it, and I believe that this card,
Honestly, I just want to say this card's name is SS Broly finishing the job, which is ironic because this finishes the
finishing the
job.
job.
I mean, honestly, if you compare this Broly and the 6-drop Broly, I'm pretty sure the 6-drop Broly finishes the
finish
job.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, okay, let's move on to the next card. Alright, okay, so this is a Broly super combo. So remember that you cannot include non Broly cards, Broly battle cards in the deck. So they actually created like a super combo for that. So it's a Sparking 5 super combo. So let's just move on. So next one is another Broly card that is quite new. Which is that when this card is played from your hand, draw 1 card, activate main, to 1 specified red and 1 color, any color. If your opponent is a 3 or more energy, there's a red field extra card of energy cost 2 in your drop area. You may place this card in the owner's drop. Play up to 1 red Broly with energy cost of 4 from your deck, and then shuffle your deck. So for this card, I'm actually a bit perplexed by it because of the 3 or more energy and of what available 4-drop red Brolys there are in the current play in for this thing. So first of all, what we saw was the finishing the job. So to be honest, finishing a job, if it can be played with 1 energy or 2 energy, why would I need to pay 2 energy for this card, needing to wait until 3 or more energy? So first of all, the finishing the job would not be the best option. So what is the second option, which is SS Broly counter reversal? It's a very old card where if your opponent were to activate a counter once per turn, you will get it deals 1 damage to your opponent's life. Personally, because the card doesn't have any barrier or deflect, it's going to get removed very easily, and it's going to be stopped very, very easily from this set. With this set moving forward. So I don't really see much of a play with this card as well. Especially towards any 4-drop. If you tell me anytime, it will be the 6-drop any day over this 4-drop.
I mean,
or
honestly,
overplaying it around 4-drop lah.
Honestly, this just says a red Broly. It doesn't say mono red Broly. So you can play
So
multi-color.
you can actually play the other multicolor Broly that you
Yeah.
can actually pitch your card. So that is the combo remover. That you got that is also pretty good, because you can pitch your extra cards and stuff to remove away the combo. So it is still, I mean, that would be like the best option going forward. But if it's like at a 3 or more energy, if your opponent is at a 3 or more energy state, you play the 6-drop any day over this card.
Mhm.
Yeah. So let's just move up and start to talk about extra cards. So this card, the Demon Cometh. Activate main if your
Oof.
leader is a mono red Saiyan. Choose one
extra
red
card.
extra card from your hand and discard it, then draw 2 cards. So it's basically like a filter to choose to let you remove to help you feel the drop. So this is why I'm saying that it is very good in terms of what it is able to do, because remember that you need 5 or more red extra cards. This card actually is one of the cards that you will consider playing on a turn 1 basis or a turn 2 basis, where you are able to look for the cards that such a cycle for cards that you need. And with the leader's effect also, it'll be 2 cards in the drop. Let's say for example you're attacking on the same turn as well. So activate main limit 1, the other effect. If your leader card is a red Broly, this is where the Broly effect comes in. Choose choose 1 card in your hand and discard it, and you send this card from your drop area to your walk. Play up to 1 red Broly card with an energy cost of 1 from your deck, then shuffle your deck. So it's basically trying to play the newer Red Broly. I actually thought about playing the Crown of Retribution, but it doesn't work. The effect has to come from hand. So that was a disappointment. That was a downer actually. But in a sense that if you the other effect is not something that I'm actually like that fond of, because I don't really like the 1 drop card effect going to the 4 drop. So in general, the second effect is just, to me, it's just whatever.
Also, just to add one more thing, the activate main actually says you play up to 1 red Broly from an energy cost of 1 from a deck, then shuffle.
Yeah, right.
Because it's playing from a deck, right? It actually doesn't even trigger the other red Broly either, because the other red Broly also says when this card is played from your hand, draw 1. So
Yeah, correct. So you don't get any draw of anything or like any special effect or
yeah,
anything. So it's just trying to prime you to go into the 4 drop. So like I said, I didn't like the 4 drop engine, or like the 4 drop kind of thing. So yeah. Let's just
not to
move on.
mention Crown Retribution and the Wonder Broly are really the only 2 targets in the whole game.
Yeah, correct. In the whole game, yes.
Maybe you want to play a young invader for yourself.
Definitely.
It's a Broly VR and you can include it in a deck.
Okay,
Right.
Method Day Finish Ritual is a field card. When this card is placed in a battle area, choose up to 2 skillers monsters, so Nata Day Finish monster basically, with energy cost of 2 or less from your deck to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So it's technically a 2 energy, draw 2, I guess. Not only so, you have activate main, choose 1 Coco card in your battle area and place it at the bottom of the deck. So the Coco that we have saw just now, choose up to 1 skillless monster card with energy cost of 2 or less in your hand and play. So actually there's only 2 monsters if I'm not wrong, which is Higher Dragon and Natade in the whole game. So basically, there's no way you're gonna take a Higher Dragon for this deck if you're ever gonna play this card. So I think that actually this card is okay, but only if it doesn't say the choose a Coco and put it at the bottom of the deck, because that's kind of stupid. It not only did it take away 5k combo, you have to play a new Coco just to be able to play another Day Village monster, which is like, man.
This card is good because you can use it in pre-release to win some free pre-release stuff.
I guess.
You're not wrong, actually. It's actually good in draft.
Honestly, though, you have to get red cards, you have to get another Village monster, you have to even get this stupid card just to play in pre-release. I don't think that's really happening.
I would rather tap 2 and just straight away play the card itself for 30k and just leave it as it is.
I mean, alright, man. I mean, okay, you can use Coco to find him, but man.
Yeah. Alright, so this card is the most important card I feel in the whole Broly archetype. So the Demon Awakens. Activate main, limit 1, burst 1. So if your leader card is a red Broly, send this card from your drop area to your walk, add 1 card from your life to your hand. So why would I say that this is actually a very good card? Because it actually allows you to awaken. Note that because Broly's weakness is that it is not able to awaken early, and there aren't any red Broly cards that actually allows you to take life, as a matter of fact. So this is like the only way allowing you to bring yourself to from 4 life to 3 life, possibly awakening on the same turn. So And note that there is a burst one. So if you burst into an extra card, it technically replaces itself. So it is still pretty decent, knowing that the deck will be ran mostly in extra cards as well. So activate battle, choose up to one of your cards, and it gets a 5,000 power. It's just basically like how the Dark Dragon balls work and stuff. And why would I say that this is important? Because it's really because of the effect. And what I feel, which is making it a weakness to not awaken early, is the limit one. But I feel that if you remove that, Broly will be too strong. And I believe it's a very fair gauge to bring it there. And Broly, fighting against Broly, even as an aggro, you will make you think twice because of what it is able to do and what it's able to provide on the table when you're playing against him. So okay, let's just move on to the next card as well. Okay.
Fortress Encounter. Again, great card. No, it's not. Counter attack, it doesn't negate the attack, but you can choose up to one skiller's monster card in your hand and energy cost of 2 or less and play in rest mode. If you play the card, it becomes the target of the attack. So it doesn't get negated, but your opponent heals it instead. But then again, if your opponent plays blue, they play Cosmic Technique Trunks. If you get bounces back, you just spend 1 energy totally doing nothing.
Yeah, you got rid of one Gossy then.
I guess so, but you might die. You might just die there. So
Yeah, I mean, if like any counterplay would actually come into like no, my question is that does the target or attack changes if, let's say, for example, if you were to counterplay Frieza?
of course, you played the card after all.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, but the thing
Yeah,
is, I guess you're spending a Frieza for this is not really great, right?
Yeah, correct.
Honestly, if your opponent counterplays this, you're earning anyway, I guess.
Yeah,
Apart from that, I mean, I can kind of maybe see being played with Han, but that's really pushing it. I don't even think it's that good. Topo's still better as a counter. There's always better counters than this, honestly. You're never going to play this engine. So, next card.
next card, please. So this card is Demonic Bliss. Note that it's 3 cost of it's a 3 cost energy and it has an activate banner. So it's one of the cards that you can actually do things with. So I'll just start. Counter attack, limit 1, negate the attack, then choose up to one of your opponent's better card and you might get minus 10,000 power for the turn. So this is basically a very, very standard counter. Is it good? I think it's pretty average, but it has to make do with what it has. But then, because it being a Saiyan, I would never sure whether you prefer King Vegeta's imposing presence or like even after image technique or the kind of thing where it is able to bring itself up. But then what's the better part is that it has an activate banner. So there's a permanent, and this permanent is what sets the this permanent is what makes the cards that are playing that you can play actually good. So if your leader card is a Red Broly, reduce the card energy cost in your hand by 2. So note that the activate battle cards are still considered 3 costs because stating that it is the original energy, right? Original cost of 3. So when you're using this card in activate battle, you do activate battle a card that is original cost of 3. So allowing the 6-drop Broly effect to proc. So I think this is like a card that you probably like run 2 to 3 off and you wouldn't even think so much because it's considered like a 10k combo in a sense that if you were to put it in that way. So but there is still upsides to it because it is still an extra card. So when the leader is split, you can just throw away this card and this card can become a 5k combo. So it can be a 5 or 10, your choice. So I think we can go down to the other cards. So Demonic Barrier. Alright, same thing. It is an extra card. And this is what I like about this set's extra cards for Broly as well. Because if your leader is a red Broly, reduce the card energy card cost of 3. So you see this as a very common thing that is going now to all the 3 cost red extra cards. So activate battle if your leader card is 15,000 power or less, choose up to one of your cards and it gets 5,000 power for the turn. Note, it is for the turn. So additionally, if that card is a Broly, it also gains critical for the turn. So it is basically like a Frieza combo where you can combo the card and it gets critical, but it works the same for 1 energy as well that you go combo 5k and it gets critical. But this can be also be used defensively. So which is what makes it good, because the thing is, having a 25k leader, even having a hand of like Shura cards, you're able to defend yourself quite well if your leader is at 20k. So I think that this is what sets apart from like it having offensive options and also defensive options. Be it that the awakening part might not be too ideal, but they have created measures to kind of like prevent it from happening. So which is quite good, preventing it to get you aggro down like immediately off the bat and just straight away lose the game. So yeah. So let's move on to the next card then. So Demonic Pick Time, same permanent. Alright, so activate battle limit 1, draw 1 card, then choose up to one of your red cards and it gets 10,000 power. Additionally, if the card is a body card, it gains a double strike. This is kind of a replacement for Champa, and I'm very happy that they released this card because it has a draw 1. Even though it's a limit 1, it has a draw 1, and the Broly card can gain double strike for the battle. So if you were to use this in the effect of the red Broly's auto, you technically draw 2 cards of the leader, gain 10,000 power, and it also has double strike for no energy cost whatsoever. So this is what makes the card that is so good that even if, let's say for example, the person were to negate, you draw 2 cards off it. You draw 2 cards off it and can extend your play. And you are able to see like, oh, what other cards that you need, the kind of thing, leader being at 25,000, leader being at 10,000 power. And note that everything is happening at the auto timing as well. So if your opponent were to negate the attack, you can choose another card to get 10,000 power. So but EB is for the better, like it's just like whatever lah. I mean, it's just for the fun.
Honestly though, in Broly, this card is gonna get abused so badly.
Yeah,
you're just gonna use one during your opponent's turn, come back to your turn, swing one time, use this from a drop, send to a walk, draw a card. You lost nothing. During your opponent's turn, just use another one, draw another card. You still lost nothing.
Yes, correct.
You also technically the red swap Broly can use this as well, right?
No, that's a Broly BR.
That's a Broly BR. It's not by the bracket, you see. So if it is going by the bracket, then it will be usable for all Brolys. So I think that this card is like basically acting like an unbreakable. So I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
But with a double strike.
Yes, man. Let it go. Now, Gigantic Meteor, or the ha, this kind of sounds always start to appear. So same thing, same permanent. Activate battle, limit 1. If it's your turn, choose up to any number of your opponent's battle cards that adds up to the total power of 30,000 or less and KO them. Which is that choose up to one of your leader cards and you need some cards and it gets 15,000 power and has its skills negated. Additionally, if your leader card is a Broly, the chosen cards gets an additional 10,000 power for the battle. To get into this card has so much utility for the Broly deck itself, because it can be done offensively and defensively, removing blockers, increasing your damage output to go for the game and stuff, which is just that I think it's pretty nuts. So note that both the effects can actually be done. Note that the 30,000 can only be done on your turn, so it's basically using it for mostly removals like of possible threats. Like for example, if you're fighting against Black Deck, Thwarting the Dark Empire kind of cards, that kind of thing. Like all the 1-drop cards, that kind of thing. Like you are able to collectively remove 5 1-drop 5k cards. So 6 1-drops. So yeah, the amount of things that you can actually remove, because 30,000 power is a huge range, and I think that this is what makes it very good as a remover, that to prevent your cards getting attacked, to prevent like your Broly getting attacked or getting rushed down in the next second. So next effect, which is that the other effect doesn't have if it's your turn or if it's not your turn. So your leader can go up to plus 25,000 for 1 energy. So if it is offensively done or defensively done, it is going to be a pain in the ass. It's basically getting Frieza Deathbolt. It's basically getting Frieza Deathbolt defensively and offensively. So I think that this card is just fantastic and absolutely what Broly needed to kind of make it a cut above like the Goten. Yeah. So any thoughts about this card?
I think you're missing the several hundred cards above the Goten. It is Way better than Goten.
yes, correct. And do note that, right, if your leader is a mono red Saiyan, so the Saiyan part is actually very, very good because like it actually also for one cost 30,000 power collectively destroyed. Man, it is good. Like you're gonna put it in like you're gonna like you're not definitely gonna put this in all of the cards, but you can actually put like one or two of it and it's actually good enough because of the amount of because of like the 30,000 power combined that add up to a total power. Yeah. So yeah. So I think that's all for the that's all for the set cards, and we can actually move to the TP cards.
For those of you who have only been on Facebook, they did release the TP cards, and don't worry, they are not very overpowered. They are just going along with the theme of the previous set. So like this Reddit here, Invitation to Battle. It is a 3-drop barrier blocker permanent. If your opponent has a Saiyan card in play in their battle area, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1. So this is basically 2 if your opponent plays Saiyans. When this card is played from your hand, choose one Saiyan with 5k power or less in your opponent's battle area and gain control of it. Well, would you like to have a free Black Mask Saiyan? That's basically saying it's not good because if your opponent does not do things of that like, it's terrible, but well, it exists, I guess.
It's still a barrier blocker after all. It's not that bad, but if you think about it, if that's all that you're getting out of a 2-cost card, it is pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Raid, because if you want to consider the amount of plays you have for 2 energy, you can Imposing Presence save 1 energy for something else.
Yeah,
can
exactly.
topo,
Definitely.
or would you like 1 barrier blocker that pretty much is gonna die?
Also, it just says that you gain control of all your opponents, say with 5k power or less, which is like nothing because usually if they have something which is like intensifying power round, Saiyan Kaba, they're probably already in rest mode because they already attacked you. So it's if only it says switch it to active mode, right?
Yeah, correct.
Then it can be a decent card if that's the case, but it's not that great.
Yeah, it's really not that good. It's just like quite underwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it targets all those Gokus, the Vegetas, the Black Mask Saiyans, what have you. But honestly, it's better off. You're better off just killing it than trying to spend 2 whole energy doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah, correct.
Also, your opponent must have Saiyan cards in play, which is quite conditional, even though there's so many Saiyans. But think about if you ever play against a previous player, how many Saiyans could they ever play? Am I right?
Oh, we have a previous player here, so yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next card.
Encounter. Yes, this is a TP card, so it is actually activate main and activate battle. Look up to top 7 cards of your deck. Add up to 1 mono red Videl or Broly with the energy cost 4 or less, and add them to your 4 or less among them, and add them to your hand and shuffle your deck. To me, this card is just a searcher, but would I want to play it? No, not really, because like if I were to find, I will find a 6-drop instead. But then the thing is, it doesn't allow me to find a 6-drop. So, and the 4 drops aren't really like what you're looking for in terms of like it being your hand. And no, there's only one viable target. Let's be real, which is that the viable target being the 4-drop that is shown previously on the set. So.
Also, if you actually just want to find a Videl, it's a 4 cost or less. The best target you can get is also the
new cards. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, exactly. If you actually only find a searcher, the 1-cost searcher Videl, you're actually losing out already. So
yeah, correct. Well, I guess there's an upside that choose up to one of your opponent better card and you get minus 10,000 power for the better. But it's just really, really underwhelming. I'm just trying to choose any other Broly cards other than this card to play in the Broly.
It's honestly
it's not 2 cards that do this.
Yeah, correct.
You see, if you just play a regular searcher battle card, look top X and find anything, you get a 5k combo for 1 cost.
And you get a body. Yeah,
exactly.
This is the thing. Yeah,
and if you're gonna just play a 1-cost activate battle for 10k, just play anything else.
Yes, correct.
Just play like Unbreakable Son Goku, Infernal Villain, Cell, at least you draw one of it.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so
alright, let's move on.
Okay, get the monster, activate battle, limit 1. If your leader is a rich general card, you can choose 1. add up to one Dragon Ball card from your deck to your hand, then shuffle your deck, or you can add up to one Desire card with the energy cost of 1 or 2 from your deck to your hand and then shuffle your deck. So basically, it's just it's kind of buff to red wish leaders, I guess. But if you think about it, if you're playing a red wish leader, like let's say you're playing Oolong Pilaf, if you are spending a card to search for a card and then to cycle another card, you're not really gaining hand size. Your hand size is gonna be just bad.
Yeah,
And,
correct.
and honestly, how many good red Desire cards are there out there anyway?
Oolong's Wish.
Familiar bonds, that's like what I'm looking at. Like familiar bonds, that's like the only one that I'm actually looking
But
at.
Familiar Bonds is probably the best target, but
for Super Saiyan, yeah.
I mean, there's also the King Piccolo's Desire card, which is decent? Question mark.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time we saw anyone play that,
And that's me.
Yeah, correct.
It was.
That was
Oh
like
my
3
god,
sets
how long
ago.
ago was
That
that?
was set 8 and 9, I think. Yeah,
I
correct.
think so. When the Power Booster first came out, right?
Yeah, correct.
Holy.
So it's like been some time already.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't even think that this even buffs it anyway, and I don't get why it's called Get a Monster. It does nothing related to Natada, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this card actually lives more than what is desired for, and the fact that looking up into a Dragon Ball from your deck to your hand, I mean, excluding the life part is like quite.
Yeah, exactly.
Excluding the life part is like quite. I mean, you're trying to boost that. You're trying to speed up the wish awakening thing. We can understand, but what if your cards are in your life?
Exactly.
And
Oh man.
that's the problem. Yeah.
Imagine just attacking and then activate battle, just look through your deck.
And
Damn.
it's like the thing is that if there's like 2 to 3 cards, you're gonna take 3 turns to awaken already at that point. So
Exactly.
yeah, I mean,
It's really underwhelming to say the least.
it's really underwhelming.
Yeah, honestly, if you look at all the cards, right? There's nothing really overwhelming for non-broadly related cards. So you can tell there might be some bias there, guys.
Yes, there
Just
might be.
maybe, right?
Yeah, I don't know what you're
Probably,
talking about.
I mean,
I'm not a Broly player. I don't
It's
understand.
just like that one set where everyone picked up a certain Mecha Frieza and everyone forgot about the 5k Frieza, but
Yeah,
it was featured in a trailer somewhere.
Well, hopefully we can see
Definitely.
more Goten plays cards that relate to him, I guess. Is there any in the special anniversary box that's coming up?
no, nothing.
Not that I know of.
They actually buffed the cards.
Okay, so at this
Yeah.
point, Goten seems like let's see what happens in future type of card leader, I guess.
Correct.
Okay, so do you guys have anything else to add?
Oh, actually, I have. Can you go back to the Broly leader?
Sure, no worries.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Yeah.
I actually thought that they might be stopping like the King Vegeta's starter King Vegeta's few, but that requires a King Vegeta leader. So there really isn't anything. So I'm not sure why they put this, but who knows? We might see some overpowered few extra card, I guess, with activate battle.
16 Dr. Mew confirmed. Let's go, guys.
Yeah.
It's like I'm
Let's
not
go.
going to errata any more fields. I've already done enough for Planet Vampa and all that.
Yeah, I think it's this has been a really really fun thing for me to do. Like, getting to explore the Broly section of it. Yeah.
Yeah, we really
love
can
it.
see how much you love doing that. If only
Yeah,
if it was a
yeah.
Broly VR, I would be the one having fun doing that too.
In case you guys couldn't tell, Elton likes Broly.
Yeah. I like all kinds of Broly, even Broly VR, and I also like
Yes.
Goku's.
How about Bio Broly?
Knowing that the next set, knowing that this set has a green Goku leader, that's my thing, man.
Oh
So you
man.
can look forward to that.
Please be subpar, please be subpar, please be subpar.
Okay, guys. So
Oh, don't do that to me.
well, your time will come for the green cards with your Goku
Yeah.
leader.
It'll be like another 3 more weeks, so I'll slowly wait until then.
Alright guys, thank you very much. That concludes our red card reveals for Unison Warrior Set 6 Saiyan Showdown. Feel free to share your thoughts below in the comment section. As always, if you like this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more video alerts. And now let's thank our review panel, Elski,
Like and subscribe, man.
Mono, and QJ for their Asian perspective of the reveals and your viewership support of all. Thank you and see you again in our next video. Bye.
Bye.
TeamGA 1328 signing off.